Hey there, leader, and welcome to Season 2 of Conversations, where we seek to advance your leader and team excellence by discussing relevant topics that impact today's organizations. I'm your host, Dr. Kelly Whalen. Welcome to the show. All right. Well, hey there, leader, and welcome to Conversations for Leaders in Teams, where today we have Dr. Alicia Granholm, who is a leadership and church consultant who helps pastors and leaders engage today's culture to make a lasting impact. She compassionately crosses cultural boundaries, having lived, served, traveled, and studied in 25 countries on 6 continents. For more than 10 years, she has served as a pastor in both mainline and non-denominational churches in the Minneapolis-St. Paul metropolitan area. Dr. Granholm has her Doctor of Strategic Leadership with a focus in global consulting from Regent University, a Master of Divinity from Bethel Seminary, and a Master of Arts in Teaching from the University of St. Thomas. For all you strengths enthusiasts, Dr. Granholm leaves with her top 5 of empathy, activator, maximizer, connectedness, and positivity. Alicia, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Thank you so much for having me. I am doing great. How are you?
I am nice and toasty warm.
Toasty warm because it's so hot out. Meanwhile, it's like 30 degrees here. So,
I'm sending it your way.
Send it our way. I mean, it's technically 34 right now. So we're thawing out, even though, we had nearly 70-degree weather this weekend and then snow again. That is spring, winter in March in Minnesota.
Yes, Minnesota. Well, yes. It is spring, so that means summer is on its way.
It's coming.
It is coming. The clocks have jumped ahead. We lost some sleep.
Yes.
But the crocuses should be coming up soon, right?
Yes, often through our snow.
Yes, often through the snow.
Well, we might still have snow on the ground in April, but we know summer is coming. Thank God.
That's right. And it will be there for a few weeks.
Yes.
Hey, I lived upstate New York, and I know that the summers are short, and it is a time just to embrace those seasons and just love on summer for those of you who like the warm weather, because the winters can be so long.
Yes, they can. We had a massive snowfall in October. It might have actually been our biggest and like our earliest, biggest October snowfall. So we've had snow on the ground for months now. And, with snow and being essentially homebound for, a year, we're all ready for a very warm, hot, sunny summer.
That's right.
So send us your
leaving for it.
Yes.
It's coming. It's coming. I promise.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, today we've got a great topic, and I'm going to start off with just this wonderful quote that you have here, which is so powerful when I read it. And you have here, effective leaders know how to share their power, not merely loan it. Wow. That is a huge statement. So I'd love maybe just to, when you think about that, effective leaders know how to share their power, not merely loan it. What are you thinking around that?
Oh, Kelly. So I'm guessing you and our listeners have been in experiences in situations where, say they're starting a new project and they're asked to, they're handed a project, asked to do all the pieces and the parts and come up with everything for it. And they listen intently to the expectations that are set by their leader, and they're working on it, and they're, maybe even 80-90% done with it. At least that's how they feel with it. And then the leader swoops in to save the day because it's not exactly what they wanted it to turn out like. So often as leaders, we think that we're sharing our power with others and sharing our authority with others because, hey, we've asked them to do something and we give them space to do it. And more often than not, really don't check in when we should, or at least get feedback along the way. And a deadline is looming. We finally check in and realize, oh my gosh, this wasn't at all what I wanted. And, it's totally fine. Let me just help you. I'll just come in and save the day so that it turns out exactly the way I wanted it, not the way that you did it.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So it's kind of akin to helicopter parenting, where we're just a bit hovering, and anytime someone just doesn't do things exactly the way that we imagined or envisioned that they would be done, we just swoop in under the guise of saving the day. We're helping them out, where we want this thing to be successful, whether it's like a project or an event or whatever it is. And honestly, we end up just shooting ourselves in the foot every single time we do that, because what people learn when we do that and when that's our style of leadership is that actually we really don't want their input. We really don't want their effort. We're just asking them to complete tasks and fulfill our vision exactly the way that we would do it, which usually means that people's efforts start to dwindle. You have to hold people's hands a lot more. Their motivation tanks. Their buy-in to either the vision or the actual organization in of itself tanks. I would argue it is one of the top reasons organizations lose top leaders every single day. It just is, because if you, even if you're an emerging leader, if you know that your input, your opinions, your experience, your expertise, your background don't actually matter, why on earth would you stay? Like, I'm going to go somewhere else.
You, right?
Yes. I'm going to go somewhere else where I'm actually valued and seen for the person that I am, that I bring value to the table. Because when we merely loan our power, it's like, a couple months ago, we were trying to install this shelf into what we thought was like, we have this brick wall, but we kind of thought it was like faux brickish. So we thought we had the right tools for it. And we tried for about a month with the tools that we had to drill through this wall. And we finally said, okay, we don't have the right tools. We know someone who does. So we were borrowing our friend's drill, like this massive drill and this huge long drill bit to get the job done. But he loaned it to us, right? Like he could have come any day to come and get his drill back when he wanted it back. Right. He was nice enough to loan it to us as long as we needed. But when we merely loan our power, it's there for us to come in and take back anytime we want, feel the need. When we're actually sharing our power, we are empowering those around us because we're in it together. Yeah. And the best is actually to just give it away, because the more power that those around us have, the more power we collectively have. Like when we're just loaning, it's like the pie is super small. But when we actually share and give away our power, the pie just grows and we all succeed on a whole nother level. Just the value of empowering others is just can't be said enough about. It's so effective in not just helping those around us succeed, but in our team succeeding as a whole. And whether we're talking churches or organizations, the go-to is to loan our power. And I think one of the biggest reasons is because if we're actually going to share our power, if we're actually going to give it away, it requires that we trust the people that we're working with. And what's interesting to me is that when we equip and empower people and we give them the resources that they need to succeed, there's no reason that we shouldn't trust the people that we work with and are surrounded by. And I think it usually because we actually haven't done what it takes to effectively equip and empower the people around us, or we haven't given them the resources they need to succeed, that we don't trust them. So we hesitate. And it's a disservice to everyone.
Sure is. Yeah. That engagement piece, that lack of trust, delegating, only tasks. I know Craig Rochelle's that always sticks in my mind, and it connects right here about, are we delegating tasks to our people, or are we delegating authority? And so the task sounds like that would align with, your loaning, right? And then the authority is you are delegating, and you're allowing that trust to be built, and you're allowing your people to really step into their gifts and do what they're called to do. So like, keep your hand out of
Yes.
And as leaders, we need to come around and rally around our people. And like you said, have those feedback sessions and figure out, if you do need to step in or just encourage, empower, whatever that looks like, but let your people do the work. Right?
Yes, absolutely. It's amazing how often people are hired for a job, has a pretty title, and they step into it only to realize it's really just a list of tasks that they're asked to do because they don't have the authority and ownership in order to make any decisions about it whatsoever. And it's just such a waste, right? Not just of a position, but of the people. Like, people are our greatest asset. And I'm blown away by how often people are, in you and I, and I'm sure so many people listening know that we live in very ambiguous, changing, uncertain, volatile times.
Yes.
And the only way that we are going to see long-term success, whatever that looks like, is by being adaptive. I mean, when people's needs and wants and desires are changing constantly, unless we're able to keep up, with those changes so that we can continue to meet or exceed their expectations and continue to serve them well, we're going to fold. Yeah. And the only way that we do that well is by having, a diverse set of experiences and opinions and backgrounds at a table and actually valued for what they are.
Yeah. And that leads right into, why is equipping it and empowering important? And it is for all those reasons that you said, right?
Yes. Well, and on the the individual leaders level too, the more things are changing around us, the more ambiguous things become, or at least the greater our awareness is of how much things are changing and actually ambiguous around us. I think the go-to for so many of us, especially those of us who are high introverts, we love to hunker down, sit there with a problem, think about it long and hard by ourselves in our little office with a closed door, work harder, work longer, really like invest our full selves in solving this problem all by ourselves. And the consequences professionally and personally are just so numerous, We're discounting and discrediting all the people that we work with, the teams, the brilliant people that we're surrounded with, and by solving things on our own, we're limiting the actual ideas that we have. I was just talking with a group of leaders yesterday, and one of them commented, she said, gosh, what I realized was, I had them working on a case study, and she was like, what I realized was this has to be solved in a team, because everyone brought up and brought to the table different responses that I would never have thought of on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we miss out on those, and then our personal life just becomes a wreck because we're losing sleep. We have less time with friends and family. We have less time for hobbies if we even had one to begin with. It's just this downhill spiral. And there's just a better way. Like if we were really intentional about investing in and helping the people around us grow and succeed and bringing everyone to the table to collaborate and get creative and think outside the box together, I mean, we're all better off. We really are.
Sure are.
And it increases our capacity and to be able to respond much more quickly than sitting in a dark room by ourselves trying to solve problems.
That's right.
Come up with the best solution all by ourselves, and then you bring it to your team and you wonder why there's crickets or zero buy-in, or people nod and then go back to their desks and do things the exact same way they've always done them.
Yeah. But that takes psychological safety. That takes really a team leader to really create an environment where people do feel comfortable, and they do feel that they can bring their best and they can speak up, and it's okay. There's not going to be retaliation in any way. So there's a lot to be said about teams and teaming, and exactly what you said. Having people step in and up and voice their opinions and voice. Like you were talking about, when we have those different voices, it's just an amazing demonstration of this beautiful brain and the uniqueness that we all have. And we're stepping in and we're saying the words, whether they're something that fit or not, at least you're expressing yourself. And so we need to give the people on our teams permission to be in that environment where they can be speaking up and stepping in and moving the bus forward with those projects or the organization as a whole, whatever it is.
No, absolutely. Fantastic. As you were talking, I had this vision of like a team sitting around a table, and as everyone is sharing and empowered to freely share, they're giving voice to something that they can see, that only they can see because of their gifts and strengths and skills and background and experience and uniqueness. And it really is as if we can't actually see the whole picture without getting input from everyone. And so you're absolutely right. Leaders have to create safe environments where people can share freely and know that they are valued, that there won't be retributions for, even disagreeing with the leader themselves. Okay. Exactly. I love how, Margaret Heffernan in her TED Talk, Dare to Disagree, she brings up how conflict, because really that's what happens when we bring a diverse set of voices to a table, and empower, everyone in their uniqueness. How, gosh, what does she say? She says that conflict should be, she gives it another name. And I wish I could think of what it is off the top of my head, but essentially that as leaders, we need to be okay with the people around our tables disagreeing with us, and that the best ideas really come out of what might feel like a challenging conversation, where diverse ideas and opinions are actually shared. That it's not just sitting in our echo chambers where the best ideas are formed, because really they're not. Right. But we believe that lie and buy into it. That. They're so comfortable, Kelly. They're really comfortable. Everyone agrees with me here. It's amazing.
Well, I think what's important, and it's definitely a mindset shift for some people to understand that not all conflict is unhealthy. We
Yes.
do have
Oh,
healthy conflict.
yes.
And
Yes.
leaders, you have such an amazing opportunity to demonstrate what openness and that safe space and just being welcoming to your people to step in and up. It's just, there is nothing like it, and then you start seeing themes that pop up that are emerging. And you can have a clear direction. There are so many benefits, to empowering your people in these ways.
No, they're absolutely. I remember reading this article on like the 10 benefits of conflict. Oh, in the sense of like team development, like the different stages of team development. Ken starts with an H. Can't remember right now.
NH.
Ken H. This is for you. Thank you, Ken H, for this. And he shares that it's not actually until teams experience some level of conflict. It doesn't have to be like massive, but some level of conflict and work their way through it, that they realize that they can actually count on and depend on and trust one another. And the interdependence and collaboration from that point on just massively accelerates. And it's there that really team dynamics improve on such a high level, and just the success of the team as a whole really take off. But it's forged in that conflict. And so, there is a place for leaders to invite conflict to conversations and team dynamics in a safe and healthy way.
Sure.
I mean, we all know there's a lot of unhealthy conflict.
There is. And it goes back to, as teams, part of the work that I do is having those agreements of how are we going to disagree, and really unpacking those before anything even happens. And when you're, starting off in a team, or even if you're in an existing team, what are those agreements that you can, have those signposts pointing back to if somebody starts going off the rail. Well, we decided, we're looking at our agreement, and our agreement said, XYZ, so we need to bring it back here. Those are all healthy ways of operating in a team, for sure.
Yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. And it as you were sharing, it reminds me, the value of values-led leadership and values-led organizations, because sure, we can come up with more rules and regulations every time something happens. And, we got a book like 10 inches deep of all the things we could do and don't do, and how you do things and how you don't do things. When really, if we come up with our values and lead from there, everyone is so much more empowered to be able to make decisions. It makes me think of when Jesus is asked the question, what's the greatest commandment? And Jesus says, well, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul. And the other is like it, love your neighbor as you love yourself. All the commandments hinge on these two.
Yes.
Really, Jesus is like, okay, like this is, if you can just love God with all that you are and love your neighbor as much as you love yourself, like just let those two things influence how you live your life as a leader, as a parent, as a son, as a daughter, as a friend, as a pastor. Like that's it. We don't need to keep writing more rules, people. We've written a lot, and they clearly aren't that helpful, because let's just look at how we've lived. Not so great.
Yeah. Love God, love people. The world would be a better place. Two simple things.
It's just very simple. I mean, we don't need to add much more,
That's right. Yeah, the Bible's clear, very clear on that. And so the flip side is, so when we don't empower, what does that look like?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean,
we're not equipping, we're not empowering.
It honestly, it looks like people leaving because here's why. In the top 3 reasons people leave, in the top 3 is I don't have development here. There's nowhere for me to go in this organization, whether it's a church or a Fortune 500. It is the reason people around us are looking for new jobs all the time. I talk to people all the time who within 3 to 6 months of starting a new job are already looking for their next job, because they know once they've gotten in and kind of get a better sense of the culture, whether they actually get to do the job that they were hired for, and they get to have ownership in it, and they get to have responsibility, personal responsibility, and bring their best self to it. And that they'll learn any skills that they need to along the way to help them succeed and grow. Or if they're just hired for the tasks to get stuff done. And people just, that isn't who people want to be. Right. You know, they want to contribute. They want to make a difference. They want to make a lasting impact. And they can't when all we're asking of them is to check some boxes off a to-do list. And so really it looks like people leaving. It looks like low motivation. It looks like low buy-in. I mean, it's really non-existent. It looks like low morale when it gets really bad. And it looks like super high turnover and a lot of money spent and invested in hiring people and all the resources that go into hiring people. I mean, it's a ton. You and I both know, like, then you got to train them again. If you train them to begin with, which
if you do, right?
Let's be real. I know way too many examples of places where there is zero onboarding process, which again, to me, the writing is on the wall. If you don't have an onboarding process, I mean,
solid
your good people are going to last only if they, feel like they are called to a place for a season and then they are going to leave. Yeah.
What are you seeing in the work that you do, or even, with the people in your network? Are you seeing that there's anything like a gender difference between, women and men, and how they feel empowered or want to be empowered? Or let's go there and maybe have a little bit of a conversation about that.
Yes, absolutely. So a comment that I hear frequently is that, like, in quotes, we don't have people like that here. In the sense of, we don't have women that we could raise up because they fit this job description. We don't have people of color that we could raise up or, have fill this job description. And so kind of what it looks like is people in positions of leadership or management raising up people who look, act, talk just like them.
Yeah.
Under the guise of, well, yes, I'm all for women in leadership. I believe in that 100%. We just don't have women that are qualified or capable. Yes, I absolutely want to have people of color in our leadership. We just don't have people here that are qualified or capable. And Kelly, it's a complete lie. Like, it is an absolute lie. Because, and here's the thing, is that so often what is happening, and I'm seeing this happen, is that the people who are hired already have usually the charisma. It's not necessarily skills or capacities, leadership capacities or skills. It's charisma. Like the person I envision having for this role. And so there is no like development of people. There just isn't. And so even though all it would take would be investing in and equipping and empowering the people that are already there, whether it's women or people of color, like it's not happening. And so of course they're not getting promoted. Of course, they're not being asked to fill these positions because they don't already possess the charisma that, this senior leadership is looking for. And so I just remember hearing, so this is secondhand. So I put this out there, but secondhand hearing about a pastor of a church. I'm going to be conservative and say they have 10,000 members, and I'm more than confident that it's more than that, but I'm going to be conservative. So 10,000 member church. And they just don't have those type of women to be in leadership roles.
I'm sorry.
Kelly, I mean, I had to stifle the laugh because it's so absurd. I'm like, how many people
That
does
narrative
it take?
needs to change.
How many people do you need? Like, what's your pool size? 1 million? And then maybe you'll find a woman who like has the charisma that you're looking for. No, it is such a lie. It is a horrible narrative. And, it really is this mindset that absolutely has to change. I worked for an organization once who professed that they like really believed in leadership development, and they were all about leadership development. And outside of maybe 1 or 2 like staff meetings that kind of focused on, I guess what you could call leadership development, that was the extent of it. So I'm not really sure, but there's this like mindset that they have that they're all about leadership development.
Yeah.
And
I've seen that.
as a church, they actually did well. I can't speak for them now about empowering volunteers. But if you were on staff, particularly as a female, there was a thick glass ceiling, very thick glass ceiling, even if you had the title of a pastor. You're extremely limited in what you could actually do. And there was no opportunity for forward movement or upward movement because you were never equipped to do more than what you brought when you walked through the doors and you were hired.
Right.
And I see that happen time and time again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I believe that you're right. That crosses industries. It is just what we are hearing. And then we have to look at, is it a generational thing?
Can I say I hope so on some level, right? Like I'm 40, so I fit in this like weird in between of generations that I don't feel like I fit in anywhere. But I kind of hope so, because it has got to stop. I mean, we just all do so much better off when we're all equipped and empowered to thrive in the way that God has created us to thrive, and really use our gifts and skills to serve humanity. Like I'm going to go there and really.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. And if we are not allowed, to bring our uniqueness, and these wonderful gifts and talents that we have that have been breathed into us, what are we saying to God? We're just saying, no, don't use me, or the leader is saying, no, you're not going to be using this person, or no, we can't find this person, when by golly, God has already empowered these people to do something special. And so you need to be opening your eyes and really seeing, who can rise up and in. And we need to be not looking at people who are just like us. Right. We need to really be having a different lens when we are looking and searching for people, for leadership opportunities, for volunteer opportunities. If people have listened to me long enough, they know that everybody is a leader. You were created to be a leader. It doesn't matter if you are on a hierarchy chart or not. It doesn't matter. I mean, we lead our organizations, we lead our committees, we lead our teams, we lead our volunteer groups. We are on volunteer groups. We lead our families, and the most important person that you're ever going to lead is yourself, and giving yourself permission to raise your hand and say, I am a leader and I am going to step up in it. And if somebody says, no, you are not, well, then you just still step in and you make the decision for yourself. Don't ever let anybody say that you are not a leader, you're not capable of leading. That's what leader development is for. That's to take what you have and to maximize it like your maximizer. Make what's good great.
I couldn't agree with you more. Like 110%, hands down, clap that up. Yes, no, you're so right. And, I think there's a lie that a lot of women believe, limiting belief, lie, call it what you want,
Yes.
that, but I got this job. Like on some level, they do believe in me, even though, it's kind of clear. I don't really see women moving beyond my level, whatever that level is. But like, I'm going to hold out hope that someday they're going to invest in me. Someday they're going to see what is within me that I already know I have and possess. I don't want to leave. Because what if I can't find another place? What if no one else is going to hire me? What if there's not another church for me? What if, and it is an absolute lie, like an absolute lie. And there are people, you're going to find another job. You're going to find another church and you're going to find people. And I know because I can look back in just my own personal and professional development. And there's a long list of people who called me and elevated me and spoke into my life. And the majority of them were men. So they're out there, and if they're not where you are right now, look for another table to sit at lunch, right? Like it's okay to leave. It's okay to say, I had high hopes and they just kind of fell short. And, it doesn't even have to be like a personal thing. It's just, And someday maybe they'll change their perspective and their mindset and their approach. But I don't know that we need to sit around waiting around for that to come, because there are already so many people who do value investing in women, who do value investing in people of color, who do value investing in equipping and empowering people who are not just like them. And they are out there, but there's this deceitful little mindset belief that, but maybe I should just stay a little bit longer. Okay. But you're also wasting time, I think, and, oftentimes we can't know until we step our foot in. There are a lot of things that look promising on surface value and then turn out not to be what we thought whatsoever. But sometimes you can't know until you take that leap of faith, check it out. Right. But that doesn't mean you got to stay for 5-10 years.
Right. Yeah. And it also doesn't mean, and I think too many people put the onus on the organization to always be developing their leaders. And I think as a leader, we need to give ourselves permission to step out and be looking for leader development opportunities, even if they're not within the organization, whether it's education, whether it's through mentoring, whether it's through coaching, whether it's getting some skill sets under your belt that maybe you don't have. Take that upon yourself to really develop in areas where you see that you want to go. Right. If you're looking at other positions and you're saying, well, I know I need this, this, and this, then go and get it, regardless of if your organization is going to support your process or not. There are opportunities for you to develop your leadership right where you are, and never forget that.
Yes. Oh, I couldn't agree more. I think the investment in ourselves, if the organization that we're in isn't willing to invest in us, is so valuable, and sometimes I do think that in the process of investing in ourselves, we get a clearer picture of the environment that we're in and whether it's a place that we can grow and thrive, or if it's a place that we need to leave because there is a glass ceiling that, we're probably not going to be the ones to break
broken.
through.
Yeah.
No. And that's okay. There's so many other places glass ceilings are already broken. Like,
that's right. Go there.
Just go there. You don't need to be the person to break it in that, in that organization, in that industry, whatever. Because it's already been done in so many more places. And there are people who are ready, for you to show up, and they're ready to support you, and they're ready to empower you. They're ready to equip you, and they're kind of waiting for you.
That's right.
So yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I think investment in ourselves, ideally with our upline support is, we're best case scenario.
Sure.
And if we don't have it, it's totally fine. Nothing says we can't do that on our own.
That is right. Oh, well, I could talk to you for a very long time.
I know.
But our time is about up. Alicia, it has been terrific to have you on and really open up this conversation about equipping, empowering our people as well as ourselves, because that is so important to do. So I really enjoyed this conversation and not loaning the leadership, right?
Yes.
I love that.
Stop loaning it, people. Just
stop
give
loaning
it away.
it.
Okay.
That's right. Give the power to the people.
Yes.
And develop your people.
Yes.
And let people really to rise up and in to all that they were created to be is such an incredible message. So I appreciate that so much. And I would love to be able to connect people to you. So how can people get a hold of you if they'd like to, extend this conversation, find out what you do as far as, the services that you provide to organizations?
Yes, absolutely, Kelly. Well, thank you so much for having me on. This is such a blast, and I could talk to you all day. Yes, my website, aliciagranholm.com, is the best place. And I mentioned this to Kelly a while ago, but I'm also starting a YouTube channel. So the best place to find that will be my website. So aliciagranholm.com. And I'm on Facebook, Dr. Alicia Granholm, Instagram, Alicia Granholm. So whatever your medium of choice, you can find me there.
Lots of places.
Yes, lots of places.
Terrific. Well, thank you again. It was a joy. Thank you for blessing the audience with your words, your knowledge, your wisdom, and your fun, your smile.
You can't not have fun, right? If a meeting or conversation goes by without laughter, I don't know that I was a part of it.
Oh, there you go. Well, you take care, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, bye. Thank you so much.
Bye. You're welcome. If you like what you hear, be sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or your favorite listening platform. And check out my book, Leadership Excellence by Design, Strategies for Sustainability and Strength, available on Amazon. Until next time, this is Dr. Kelly Whalen. Keep doing great things, because our world needs leaders like you.